not going to argue with that.
We are live.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Book Asylum podcast. I am Richard R. Rose, and with me today I have Dungeondan Uebel, Anthony Castro, J.L. Folk, also known as Jenn Amato, or whatever alias this international woman of mystery is using today. So,
don't ask questions you might get murdered for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm keeping my mouth shut. Trust me. Kristen Vincent and Doc Freed. Did I say that right? Freed, right?
Yeah, yep, you got it.
All right. Or smart. But and today we have our special guest, Nathan Helm, otherwise known as Funky Fantasy. He is not only an author, he is an author and a voice actor. He actually records his own books. His Kingdom Society series, which I am in the middle of reading listening to the first book right now. So the tremendously talented Nathan Helm. Let's welcome him to the show today, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome.
Hey.
Thank you for coming. And happy Veterans Day to all the vets out there. We have 2, 3. Anthony, I don't know if you've served.
No.
I did not.
He's been served.
Multiple times.
We have 3+ veterans on the show today, and we thank you for your service. But I want to ask the first question. When did you start writing?
Short answer, last July. Long answer, when I was a kid, probably in middle school, 5th or 6th grade, I started to write this little short story. It was called The War Under the Sea. I don't have it anymore. I couldn't even find it if I wanted to. But I just kind of gave up on all that. But a couple years back, I wanted to get into, officially get into the voice acting scene and do audiobooks. So I was like, oh, easiest way to do that is have my own book. So I started writing last July. And
Okay, so I got a question. Okay, you started writing last July, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have 2 books out already, correct? I mean, you got that. You got the first book that I'm on. I got the first book. It's a pretty thick book. Second book is just as big. How the hell did you do that?
Well, I really should have 4 books out right now, but I had to take a month off of writing this last. My brain's I've just been tired. I was getting close to burnout. But I don't really know. I'm writing like when I'm in mode. Tentatively try to use like the Dragon Anywhere app while I'm driving because I can talk to my phone and it'll take down notes or words or whatnot. But yeah, I guess that's how.
Yeah, that's why J.S. Patrick. He was one of our guests on the show a couple of times, and the author of the After Z series. He's a truck driver as well, and he uses that Dragon Anywhere app. I've tried to use that, like on long road trips, trying to do some of my writing with the Dragon Anywhere, but I get so pissed off because it doesn't like my southern accent for some reason. So what I say is not what comes on the screen. And then when I start cussing at it, it goes on the screen too. It'll be like, I was like, hey,
cusses back at you.
Yeah, it cusses back at me. Like Buford said, hey, how you doing? Buford said, hey's in the barn. What the fuck? I didn't say that. And then what the fuck? I didn't say that.
It ain't just you. I've tried doing it myself, and I'll say, they were going. There were 2 of them in the yard, and instead it's T-O. I'm like, no, 2, the number 2, not T-O. Like, unbelievable.
When you started narrating your books, was that something that was pre-planned? Did you have that intention in mind when you started writing, or was that just something you were like, hey, I got these books, I'm totally going to narrate them?
No, I started writing because I wanted to be a narrator. So
Okay.
That was why I started writing, so that I could have audiobooks out there on a resume in order to get work from other people, because there's, out there, unless you have like a big name or a huge resume, no one's going to hire you to do anything, no matter what. So I was like, all right, I can do my own books. I was like, maybe that'll give me some sort of an edge.
Yeah.
So far, not so much. I've kind of gotten janked a couple times, but
well, I've sat in on some of your live readings, and you're doing pretty good, man. So keep it up.
I appreciate it. I try.
It's really good, man.
Where do you do in the live readings?
I generally do them on TikTok.
Okay.
I've done a couple on YouTube. I've done a couple on Facebook. But generally, I'll go on TikTok and I'll put in the little section thing, live reading of such and such book, and then I'll go for. One day I think I went for 6 or 7 hours. Had a couple breaks in between, but people kept coming in and out, so I was just like, all right, if y'all are going to stay here and keep me motivated, then I'll stay on. But yeah, that's pretty much where I've done the live readings, is on TikTok.
Okay, that's cool. I've never thought about it. I've never heard of people doing that, so that's an interesting marketing approach.
Yeah, he's really good. I was enjoying it.
Yeah, the book's good. The book is great. I mean, I'm like halfway through it now. So tell us about your Kingdom Society series. The first one being the Black Hood. Tell us a little. Give us a breakdown of that story. Or the premise, anyway.
It's like the hardest part of explaining stuff is premises. I suck at that. Like I don't want to be spoilery, but okay, so imagine a fantasy world, but it's also very sci-fi. It's very much science fantasy or futuristic fantasy, if you want to call it that. Lot of anime tropes, a lot of space opera tropes, different things like that. But basically, you've got 20 kingdoms spread throughout the planet Teronia, and the main characters settled in Targus. Black Hood is this body hopping entity, essentially, who's been coming after that family, trying to take them down because they're a seat of power. And it ends up the kids have to go to the future to be protected, and then eventually get back to the past to save their family. And there's weapons and magic infused weapons, some sci-fi technology in the futuristic aspect. But then once everybody comes back, you've got like puns of earth puns and stuff like that and such. That's kind of, I think, the best description I can give. I'm really, really bad at premise descriptions.
Right.
Well, what makes your sci-fi stuff different from other books, like the weapons and such? Do you have different type of weapons that you came up with? How does that make it? How is that different for you versus other sci-fi?
All right.
So there's some fantasy weapons that I came up with a couple, but like, for example, you think of like fantasy gauntlets, gauntlets that are worn as on your wrists and your forearms to protect you from blades and all that stuff. So instead of just a normal gauntlet, well, they're created in the future with a housing unit for energy crystals, which is just normal crystals from diamonds and other stones, but infused with magic, which powers the gauntlets to be able to manipulate molecules.
Is that like the
air.
thing that Kronos wears and when they were looking for the Infinity Stones, or is it? I'm sorry, that's the only thing I can equate it to.
So,
you mean
so
Thanos?
it's kind of, from what I hear, it sounds kind of like a mixing of magic and sci-fi. Like the sci-fi is fueled by the magic.
Yeah, so it's definitely fantasy, and there's a lot of sci-fi elements to it, which is why I classify it as either futuristic fantasy or science fantasy, because it's a healthy blend of sci-fi, but it's definitely, because you got different planets, you've got spaceships, and you've got different crap like that eventually. But it's centered fantasy. So if you think of like, brought up the Thanos' gauntlet, in the Marvel comics, if you take off the part on the hand, just the part on the wrist.
Yeah.
And those like things like that, or like magic infused, you take like an AK-47, but picture Gandalf going into Mordor with an AK-47 that's enchanted like a Halo weapon.
That's awesome.
I like that
like that.
analogy a lot.
I like that idea.
Stuff like that, you know. You still got swords, you've still got, you know, halberds and armor and special, you know, materials that are made. Like there's a dragon sword, which is not brought in yet, but you've also got like a similar sword to like the Legend of Zelda, and things like that. But when it comes to like magic infused technology and stuff, for example, I have like a resident wizard who is just this kooky, snarky, smart, freaking break all the rules, morally great character. And eventually later on in the series, he's just sitting there in his chambers. First time the main character and him see each other after a section of training, and Xylok's just sitting there with a enchanted HP laptop, just chilling. Like, what?
What?
So,
Crazy.
and I can use future puns, like I can talk about Harry Potter and Star Wars and movie reference lines and things like that, even though, you know, yeah. So, and yeah,
That's cool.
if that made sense. Sorry.
It does.
It totally does.
So how many more books can we expect in this series?
So book 2 is out. Book 3 is finished. I just haven't put it out yet because I've been going back and working on a second edition of the first book. Just to there's some things I just wanted to add and fix before moving forward with it, and I'm like 30 or 35,000 words into book 4. But there's 6 books total in Kingdom Society, and then there's another 6 for Future Kingdoms, 2 separate series, but all part of Kingdom Society. It's just the second series takes place 500 years in the future. And then I'm working on I needed to take a break from my main series just to let my brain freshen out a bit. So I've been working on the first book of my Celestial Guardians fantasy series. I'm thinking probably I'm going to release the first book of that around the same time that I release the second edition of the first book. It's kind of what I'm thinking.
Oh, okay.
Do you have any plans to write outside of fantasy?
So I write fantasy, sci-fi, military, lit RPG. Those are my 4 genres. But I know I'm going to be writing a retelling, a dark supernatural retelling of the Titanic, with a buddy of mine. So that would be my kind of like out of the box from my normal genres that I do.
Is someone going to remind Rose that there is enough room on that door for her fat ass to scoot over and Jack to get on?
Huh?
Oh, you haven't seen Titanic?
Oh, okay. Yeah. You said Rose. I was like, what are you talking about? What am I doing?
Sorry, you have to pay attention to the whole sentence instead of just the couple keywords.
ADD's a bitch. Yeah.
So Nathan, you do quite a few genres. Which one of them would you say is your favorite that you love to revisit most?
Fantasy, most
Yeah.
likely. Fantasy and sci-fi. It was like I'm one of those people that likes to break the rules, and I like to. Anybody who's read my books knows I'm a huge anime fan because I have very heavy anime tropes and throughout all my writing. So I always wanted to kind of redefine the genre of fantasy because everybody's just like, oh, the language is not proper of a fantasy book. I'm like, it's my own planet. I can do whatever I want. It can be modern or not modern. It's
The whole
like
point of the word fantasy, isn't it?
Yeah.
it's the whole point
all
of fantasy
made up.
and sci-fi. Like,
Well, indie in itself is so you can do whatever the hell you want and not have people telling you what to do in your own world, you know?
Oh, believe me, they will anyways. But
Rebels,
Yeah.
us rebel rousers.
I got a couple hams they can kiss. They didn't have a problem with my shit.
That's one thing I do love about the indie community. We have the artistic freedom to write whatever the hell we want, and not have someone dictating, what goes in the book and what doesn't.
Yeah.
yeah, it's yeah. I think fantasy, like my fantasy book that I'm doing, the Celestial Guardians one is very much just it's strictly fantasy. There's no sci-fi or any of that other stuff. It's just a strict one genre book. I mean, the main villain comes from a different planet, but they don't ever travel to a different planet or anything like that. So there are other worldly elements, but it's centered. I would say it's probably my heaviest Lord of the Rings inspired series, most likely.
Wow.
Now you said you're a fan of anime. Just going off topic, what's your favorite anime series or movie?
That's not a fair question to ask, but I'll do my best.
Good answer. It was a test.
My top 5 are One Piece, FMA Brotherhood, My Hero Academia, Elfen Lied, and probably, like, I don't say Naruto because I love Naruto and it's always going to be like, it's nostalgic, just like Pokemon and Dragon Ball and all that stuff. But as for just written animes, One Piece, FMA Brotherhood, My Hero Academia, Elfen Lied, and those are my top 4 for sure.
Have you seen
Those are all great series.
Have you seen the live action version of One Piece?
I watched one episode and wanted to throw up, so I was.
I mean, I've never seen the. I'm not an anime fan, so I didn't ever seen the anime, but I actually kind of like the show.
It's different.
They
My
didn't
wife
even
didn't
get.
like it.
They didn't even get Luffy right, so you don't get the main character of the anime right as the live action. You've already screwed up in my book, and that's the sad part. They've actually got other people who are really good at their roles in the show, from what I've seen so far. Like I almost like the live action version of Nami better than the anime.
Yeah.
But they screwed up with Luffy, so I'm just like, all right, well, I'm gonna probably finish watching it just so I can talk crap about it, because that's what I do. Just like with the live action Cowboy Bebop and how much of an atrocity that was.
That was terrible.
No, I couldn't get past the soundtrack.
I couldn't get past the first episode.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of interesting, but the damn 20s zoot suit music or whatever the fuck they were playing, that just threw me off. I mean,
I'm an old school anime movie lover. Ninja Scroll, Akira, stuff like that. I like the classics, Ghost in the Shell. The classics, but Akira will always be my favorite anime, anything for the rest of my life.
If you want a good one to check out Eureka 7. That's a really good anime. It was the artwork from My Hero Academia is actually really heavily inspired from Eureka 7. So,
okay.
And if you want just a laugh on YouTube, you can go watch Dragon Ball Z Abridged by Team 4-Star and Hellsing Abridged, and it's hilarious.
That shit is funny. That is ridiculously funny.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball has always hands down been my favorite anime series. The original Dragon Ball Z, all that stuff. And when I heard about Dragon Ball Abridged, that blew me out of the water. That shit is so funny. I literally cried.
My favorite scene is hands down when Frieza comes in when they're on planet Namek, and he's just like, "This is me and my team, and we're a bunch of improv actors." And he's counting off 540. Wait, what? Oh, I hear these heroic speeches so weirdly often. I keep track of them.
Well, let me ask you this: have you had any formal acting training or experience? I mean, what prompted you to go into voice acting?
I did a lot of musical theater and theater growing up. I did a lot of musicals and things. And when I moved to Florida after I got out of the Marines, I did some small short films and stuff with some local directors and things. But once COVID started and I realized I didn't want to really be part of the whole Hollywood scene or Broadway or just have anything to do with it. So I was like, well, I love doing voices. And I was like, I don't like voice acting's so much fun. Like I do it all the time by myself anyways. I might as well try to like do books. I've listened to hundreds of audiobooks. So I was like, all right, let's do that. So that was kind of what I always wanted to do, acting in some way, shape, or form. But I think voice acting is it's way more fun, in my opinion.
So are any of these movies that you've been in, are they available like on YouTube or anywhere we can check them out?
I wish. No, I don't even know where to find them anymore. Freaking, they're just like these little things where like the director was putting together these little short films, that he was just like, yeah, these are going to be like, become something legendary. And I'm like, all right, can we get the copies of them? Unfortunately, no. I was like, okay, that's okay.
Well, I'm going to keep you in mind because at some point I plan on doing Bad Wabbit as a motion comic or something like that, maybe even an anime. And I'm going to need some cool voice actors, somebody that can kill it.
Just let me know. I mean, I love doing voices. It's my favorite thing to do.
I mean, I can do voices, but I just never really got into it. I just do them around the house to annoy my kids.
You just walk up to your kids and start talking like Bane, just if they're naughty again.
It's time for bed.
Oh, Batman's come back to Gotham City. Now you're going for a bedtime timeout for 15 minutes.
That's actually pretty good, man.
Yeah. I'm actually pretty intrigued by your different voices. That is really awesome.
I try to do it when I read my chapters to my wife. Anytime I get finished writing a chapter, I always read it off to my wife afterwards.
Yeah, but you can't take the hick out of Richard, even if you take Richard out of the hick.
Okay, the book is called Wild-Eyed Southern Boys. Okay,
everybody sounds like Richard in it.
Yeah.
No, Jack sounds like Jack.
Yeah,
Richard sounds like Richard.
What.
Nobody sounds like Jack, which we miss him today, by the way. He is not feeling good.
Dan's like, no.
All right, I was trying to be nice. Fuck Jack.
Fuck that guy.
He would have jumped in with that Dick Van Childress voice, and I'd have to fucking throw
Oh
up.
my God, I can't. He has the worst. If you've ever watched any of our shows, Nathan, he has the worst British accent or whatever it is that you call it.
It's not a British accent.
It definitely isn't. It sounds like maybe a cat and a mule might be arguing. I'm not sure what's going on. It's bad. So bad.
Yes, not even that good.
It's not even that good.
Not even that good. It sounds way worse.
I've seen the movie. I've seen the movie. Just go with it with Jennifer Aniston and crap. Yeah.
It was Adam Sandler.
Yeah, that guy.
Adam
That
Sandler.
guy.
And he makes fun of the girl that like Jennifer Aniston's. I think it's the same one. Yeah, it is. And he talks to her about the one guy's beard, and he's like a guitar player or something in a band or something.
I mean,
That's what Jack reminds me of with his little beard.
I'll ever need like an intro for your audiobooks, even if you already have like a voice actor or whatever, just the whole like, this book is blah blah blah, read by et cetera, things like that. Just let me know. It's pretty simple to do.
So, you said that book was it 3 or 4 is done?
Book 3 is done. Book 4 has got like 35,000 words down.
When do you plan on releasing book 3?
Releasing which one?
Book 3.
Hopefully, I want to have my new books released before Texas AuthorCon next July. That's my hope and goal. My brain's just been like that. I think every author goes through it at some point in time, but it's been that point for me where I've just like, wondered if my stuff just sucks and like I can't write and like
I know
every
the feeling.
freaking
Welcome
And
to
I-
imposter syndrome.
Yep.
Glad
that's
you're here.
Exactly what it
Man,
is.
We've
that's
all
a-
been there.
I was checking your ratings and your sales stats are not bad on Amazon and everything. Oh yeah, you're talking to me about now Audible, it doesn't have quite as many ratings. That's usually the case, but I mean the rating scores and everything, you're not doing bad. I mean, by comparison, you're doing better than my books are.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
mean, that's you probably sold a lot more books than me, though. I harass people when it comes to reviews. I'm just like, if you're getting this stuff for free, like you're gonna leave a review.
that's only fair though.
Well, I mean, that's
I agree
implied.
that
Well,
it's
yeah, I
only
think that's
fair.
only fair, but I mean, there's always that fine line. But I have to deal. I go with Nathan on that. You just want to choke him. It's like put a fucking review up.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if you're giving
I
me
mean,
free-
how hard is a review, honestly,
But-
but
if an author gives you a free download code or gives you a book as a gift, I mean, leave a
This is the
review.
least you can do.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, I liked the book. It was all right. Not my cup of tea, but yeah, it was decent. Yeah, like
Yeah, that's better than nothing.
4 stars.
I do promise you, Nathan, I will be leaving you a review. I just got to finish it. It won't let me leave a review until I get the book.
Oh
finished
no,
with it.
you're good, man. I've just been
Yeah.
depressed of late with the whole writing thing and everything. It's like after I used a developmental editor, and then I thought I was improving, like from my readers and things like that, and then all of a sudden, I hire a developmental editor for my 3rd book, and then I felt like I was just sucked all over again, and it's just been messing with my head the last couple months. Maybe that's what's been making it hard for me to write. I don't know.
I mean, that's been a big problem with me as far as like when I'm writing, because like, dude, out of everybody on this screen, I'm probably the least like published, less developed person as far as a writer goes.
oh Jesus Christ, shut
and-
up. It's not-
Let me
true.
fucking play you a
I
song.
know.
But I'm saying
We're
like,
not doing this
You
over
are
listening
not.
stuff today.
no.
Yeah,
I'm not saying any
you're
of that.
not.
I'm saying
No.
that as far as published books, I have the least. And I'm saying that it's like for a while there, I was like, oh my God, I'm totally like suck at this. I'm totally not like I shouldn't be up here with these people and this and that. And Chris Philbrick was like, bro, he goes, that's imposter syndrome. He goes, I've published multiple books and I still feel that way sometimes. He said it comes with the territory, and that's just something
Mhm.
you got to suck it up and keep going, man. And if you're doing good, you're going to know. And like, so I'm just going to keep going. And I, as far as I know, I've been doing pretty good. So I'm not stopping anytime soon.
Now, my question is, why did you get into writing in the first place? Because when I got into it, it was because I just wanted to, it was one of my things that I wanted to get done before I died. And just being able to be published, that right there, I accomplished my goal. So
Yeah.
now I keep writing because I really enjoy it. And what was your reason for getting into writing in the first place? Was it
Yes.
because you enjoyed it, or because you thought you were going to be a millionaire? Because honey, that ain't happening.
No.
We're creators. We don't, it ain't working like that.
Right?
If you're getting into it for the right reason, your imposter syndrome, it's still there. Cause I get it and everything like that. And that's what kept me from writing when I was younger. But if you're getting into it for the fact that, you know what, I think I have a decent story and I want to finish the book that I started or the series that I started. I think that right there says way more about you than, well, does so-and-so like my book?
Yep.
Fuck so-and-so. Nobody
Exactly.
gives a shit about so-and-so. What do
Yeah.
you think? So what was your reason for getting into writing?
You asking me or him?
Nathan,
Oh,
our,
no,
our guest. I talk to you every week.
Shut up.
extra guy.
Because I love creating unique universes and different worlds and characters, and it's fun, and I want people to like it, because it's nice to know that they enjoy the stories I might be bringing like joy to somebody, like that's that's why. Do I want to make money off of it? Sure, I think everybody does. But why I went into it was because of that.
You started out for the right reason because you enjoy it. Fuck everybody else. You enjoy it. And that's, that's why I got into it. That's why most of us got into it because would we love to make millions off of this? Yes. Is it going to happen? No. But it's just, it's being able to say, well, I published a book of whatever, whether it's sci-fi, fantasy, Zombie fiction, poetry, even, who cares? Because there's millions of people out there who haven't done it and have wanted to do it at some point in their life. And you had the balls to do it, whereas everybody else has not.
Yeah.
I'm off my soapbox. Sorry.
I mean, think about how many people have ideas for books, but they never even sit down and type the first letter. It's like if you've gone even into the book, a paragraph, you're already doing more than most people. So, I mean, freaking enjoy it. I love it.
I watched that movie Where the Crawdads Sing, which is obviously based on the book.
Oh, it's so sad.
Yeah, but the the girl, she writes these books. Basically, she's just drawing pencil sketches of shells and a little narrative about the shell itself and everything. And then all of a sudden, her little shack, she's getting electricity hooked up, and she's buying all this furniture because she's making all this money from these fucking little books about fucking seashells that nobody's ever going to fucking buy. That's the reality of it. I mean, but she's like making all this money from being this published author now because she's got a book about seashells out. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way.
No.
There's some great books out there that don't make jack.
No, they don't, but they should.
They should.
I think who was it? Beatrix Potter, the guy, the woman that wrote what is it, Peter Cottontail or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Who is that? Is that right?
I don't know.
Sounds about right.
Well, she had been writing all these books and getting them published, and like she had been putting them out there, and apparently they were selling, but nobody told her. And so one day she went back to the publisher to like kind of just check in, and they were like, "You got like millions of dollars, like you've got like all this money." And she was like, "What?" And so I mean, you never know.
I wouldn't mind if because I go through DJ Cooper and Angry Eagle Publishing. I wouldn't mind if she said, "Oh crap, I have a bunch of money to send you via Venmo." And I'd be okay with that,
Right?
But the reality is
It
that
doesn't happen all the time.
Doesn't happen that way. And I'm just glad that hey, my name's on a book that I wrote.
Well, when they told me I was dying from a heart failure, like it was a slow kill, but I was like, dude, I always wanted to write something. I've always wanted to do something with, comic books. And I've pretty much wasted all my life up until that point, just getting drunk and stuff. So I was like, you know what? Now's the time, because if I don't do it now, when's it going to happen? And ever since I started it, it's just been constantly like fun. It's fun. I love doing it. And if I don't sell 1 million copies of Bad Wabbit of any form, shape, or otherwise, at least I did something I enjoy, and it's out there and people can read it. And
screw the rest of you. I'm going for the millions. Bunch of lazy bastards.
Yeah, but you have to get your book out. So.
Yeah, damn, it's taking so long.
You have to actually.
I'm perfecting it.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That's never mind. I'm not going to say
it.
It's going to be something nasty. I'm not going to say it.
Please do.
Oh no!
Richard will say it. Come on,
muting
Richard.
myself.
Coward.
We're being nice.
Look at her laughing her ass off. Now I have to hear it.
How are you?
I'd say if I could read her mind, I'd say it.
It's like when you guys go down on a woman, you guys still have a hard time. We can put a neon light there and you guys would still not find it. Perfection is not going to happen.
Yeah. Speak for yourself, guys. Okay. Just saying.
Bring the wife on. We'll find out.
No, that's cool. My wife's busy right now.
I'm
Drawing
sorry.
you a map.
I always end up turning it.
No, that was great.
Let's fucking go Michigan. But yeah, so I'm sorry. I went there again. I apologize, but it's a fact. Nothing is
Not
ever
all
gonna
about
be
your
perfect.
vagina.
I mean, not mine, just women in general. I didn't say I had that problem. I'm saying other
Mhm.
women.
Sure.
So, Nathan, how long does it usually take you to record one of your books? As far as like beginning to end, does it take a day, 2 days, week, month?
Takes me multiple months because I don't have the time to do it as a trucker.
Yeah. I would imagine so. You just do it whenever you're at like a truck stop or something like that?
I do it whenever I can get to wherever my home base is and find somewhere quiet to do it. That's why I've been trying to make some money off of the recordings and the books to a point where I can cut my hours down at work and then be able to do the narration a lot more. But I just don't have the time working 70 hours a week. It's really hard.
Hypothetically, if you could make, say, a lot of money doing your books and narrating and all that stuff, do you like trucking enough to where you would keep doing it, or would you quit?
No, I would quit.
I understand.
Kidding me?
You have yourself a nice recording studio set up for your audio?
I've just got a little homemade DIY mic booth that I built myself with a plastic Tupperware container and some memory foam sheet stuff and glue, and I just put my microphone in there and turn the truck off and record.
That's the way to do it right there. I like that.
Basically, set up your sound studio in your sleeper cab there.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
That's awesome.
I totally respect that because in my youth, I used to do the hip hop music, believe it or not. And I can't tell you how many closets lined with foam with some dinky mic in the middle that we used. And we came up with some pretty good stuff, man. So
How many times you get locked in that closet?
Yeah, well, I won't tell you that.
And have you come out of the closet?
Well, you know what? Come around here, Dan. We'll talk about that.
No judgment here. No judgment. We're fine.
Nathan, you got any intentions of jumping into the horror genre? Or is that just not your bag?
I don't like horror at all. So
would you narrate a horror novel if somebody wanted you to pay to do it?
Yeah, I would narrate a horror novel. I just don't like writing them because I can do crazy freaking scary voices from the depths of the darkness.
Nice.
Yeah.
I told one person, I was just like, I could imagine your villain sounding something like this, coming from the shadows out of nowhere.
Okay, I'm gonna throw something at you here. I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay.
Can you do a talking Sasquatch? If a Sasquatch could talk, which they can, what would they sound like?
Well, that's a conundrum because they could sound high or low or medium. But really, honestly, if you think about a Sasquatch, you just think about something with a little bit of gravel like that. Woodland areas, welcome. I like eating flesh, man flesh.
That was actually pretty good.
So Sasquatches have British accents. Okay.
What's that?
So Sasquatches.
If they're from England.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I guess if they're English Sasquatch, okay.
If they were an English Sasquatch, then it would just be a British accent with screaming with me and the delicious, like an Orcsies. Yeah, they don't need those. We're a man flesh.
Oh my God, you would be hysterical if you just kind of lost it one day and were talking to yourself in different voices.
Yeah, can you imagine the
probably
guy in
not.
the small Mexican?
They're off limits for Master Saruman.
Could you just do that? You're at a truck stop and he's just going off in this
That's what
truck.
I'm saying. Can you imagine he's in the toilet? The guy next to him in the stall's like, what the fuck is going on?
No, when I'm driving, I'll just start going like, "Hey, this guy, what are we doing looking for vodka in this different place? And nine, what's the all that's gone in different spots of this with vodka?" And like, I just basically have my own world summit with like, we, the people of the UK, refuse your orders. Oh yes, just like you did in World War II. Oh, yeah. Like,
That's
I don't
great.
That's
Well, we're getting
fun.
close to the end of the show here, but so at this point, we take a moment to tell everybody where we can find you. So, starting with Anthony Castro, where can we find you?
Oh man. DMWcomics.com. You can find me there. You can follow my blog. You can follow my Castro's Comic Book Corner, which I'm going to be picking up next week. And right now, as of today, I found out I'm actually on Amazon Kindle. Bad Wabbit is on there.
Right.
So, and you guys can go just check out Anthony Castro or Bad Wabbit on Kindle. You can find it. Also, you can find me in multiple comic book stores in Texas and Austin, and here on Saturdays. Yeah, so look me up, guys.
Anthony,
Give me
can
a
you do your
ring-a-ding-ding.
little T-Rex arms again? What was that?
Okay. So, Kristen, where can we find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Amazon under K Vincent. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok. I'm not very active on X, is what they call it now. Twitter, X, whatever. You can also find me on Threads, which is associated to Instagram, and yeah.
Okay. And okay, Doc Freed. Now, I know that you're an editor, but are you also an author? Do you have any works out there that we could check out?
Not anything that would be in the nonfiction or the fiction. Well, let me rephrase that. Nothing in the fiction genre. I have published papers and published books because, of course, I've got multiple degrees. But aside from that, nope. I'm just an editor. I get to come in and say, "Yep, I know what they're going to be doing," and I've edited a heap of books. Doesn't that count? And you can still
That
find me.
counts.
You can find me on Facebook at Doc Freed or, Doc at aboarts.com.
All right. All right. Now you can find me and my book series, Wild Eyed Southern Boys, on Amazon, and my website, Richard R. Rose Author, and my Richard R. Rose Author Facebook page. You can also find me on Snapchat, or not Snapchat, but
Pornhub.
yeah, besides that, that's OnlyFans. But you can also find me on, holy crap, I'm drawing a daggum blank here.
OnlyFans?
Instagram, yeah. OnlyFans, yeah, Instagram. That's a good hint. Yeah. Yeah, but you can find me on all that. And Wild Eyed Southern Boys Book 4 is in the works. I finally found me a daggum job so I can afford to keep the lights on so I can go back to writing. So more
Awesome.
that's coming out soon. Now,
And where do we
last but
find
not
Nathan?
least, where can we find you, Nathan Helm?
You can find me on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, The Funky Fantasy Man. Yeah.
Okay. Look up Anthony Castro, or excuse me, Nathan Helm at Facebook, Instagram, and The Funky Fantasy Man on TikTok.
Yeah, The Funky Fantasy Man, you can find me on all those social medias. I just don't get onto Twitter. I don't get on Instagram as much, but I'm on all three of those, and I'm on Amazon as well. So,
Okay. Well, check him out. It's a great series. I'm halfway through the first book, and I can't wait to get to the second one. So, get on there, get on Amazon, and look up Kingdom Society. 2 books out, soon to be 3, and 4 right around the corner. So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us today for another exciting episode of the Book Asylum podcast. I am Richard R. Rose. That's Kristen Vincent. That's Anthony Castro. And, okay, my point. Okay, that's Dungeondan Uebel. Right up there, you see him? Okay.
I'm here.
Doc Freed and our Anthony Castro. Yeah, okay.
Other way. Yeah.
And our special guest, Nathan Helm. Thanks for joining us today, Nathan. It's great to having you on the show. Look forward to having you on again in the near future, and the best of luck to you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay,
All
ladies
right.
and gentlemen, that's it for today's show. And this is the Book Asylum podcast. And have a great weekend.
Bye.
Tom.
Bye.